So welcome to the session on correlation and regression. So see here, the criticality is understood. Whether a factor has got an influence on the y variable or not, that is understood. Now I want to understand the relationship, because the solution evolves only, after thorough understanding of the relationship between x and y, right? So the correlation, regression, both will tell you whether a relationship exists or not, right? And that's what we are going to see. So I'll teach both correlation analysis, and in correlation analysis, we'll use a tool called Pearson correlation coefficient R. We'll see that. And I'll also educate you on how to interpret the result. Interpreting the result is important. See, lot of softwares available which can generate the report. But how will you interpret the result? That makes you an expert. And then we'll also see some example. And then with the regression, we'll understand the regression analysis. I'll also explain you the terminologies associated with the regression. Then there is something called regression model. We'll see that, and also we'll see an example. Right. And now 3 diagrams I'm showing here. All the 3 diagrams are nothing but scatter diagram. Scatter diagram, all of you know, right? Scatter diagram is the diagram showing the relationship between x variable and y variable. The requirement is both x variable and y variable should be continuous data. And in correlation and regression, the x variable is called predictor and the y variable is called response variable. And now looking at the third diagram, you can see the points, how the points are scattered. It looks like how the stars are in the sky. And now, can you make a guess? Is there a relationship between the predictor variable and the response variable in this diagram by seeing this diagram? No relationship, right? And that means no correlation. No relationship means no correlation. At that situation, when you calculate the R value, what is our Pearson correlation coefficient? R will tend to be 0. Whenever the R value tends to 0, you can make a conclusion there is no relationship that exists between your x variable and the y variable. Suppose if you see this kind of pattern, and now see here the pattern is random. Here it is completely non-random. Non-random means it falls in a perfect straight line. And that situation, your R will become the maximum. R will become the maximum. The maximum is +1. Here, the relationship is linear. I would say perfect linear, or I will say it is strong correlation. And as the x increases, y also increases. You can see it here. Am I right? And so it is called positive correlation. You know the meaning of 1. You know why I'm saying strong. You know why I'm saying positive. And similarly, coming to the second diagram, can you tell me what kind of relationship that exists here? Is it strong?
Yes, sir.
And is it positive or negative?
Negative, sir.
Very good. And that means as I increase the x, my y will decrease. As I increase the x, my y will decrease. So scatter diagram can give you the clue whether a relationship exists or not. If the relationship exists, these 2 diagrams are giving me the clue that the relationship is linear. This information will be helpful in developing the mathematical model or in developing the prediction equation. And now the formula for calculating the R. This is the formula. N is the number of data you are using. X bar is the average of the X values. Y bar is the average of the Y values. Sx is the standard deviation of the X values. Sy is the standard deviation of the Y values. And Xi, individual X value. Yi, individual Y value. Now you will get the R value. And as you already know, the R value, the Pearson correlation coefficient, will range between -1 and +1. Whether it is -1 or +1, you say the relationship is perfect. If it is 0, you say there is no relationship or no correlation. So 0 to 1 is positive correlation and 0 to -1 is negative correlation. 0 to 0.4, weak correlation. 0.4 to 0.7, moderate correlation. 0.7 to 1, strong correlation. You can also use the other classification like very strong and very weak, right? So this is how it is. And now I'm showing another scatter diagram. All the blue color dots are the points, And now looking at the blue color points, tell me what kind of relationship you are seeing between X variable, which is calories you are consuming, and Y variable is your weight gain, corresponding weight gain. And what kind of relationship that exists?
Positive.
Strong
Correlation and
positive.
positive.
Strong positive.
Positive correlation. You can also say the relationship is linear. See, R, the Pearson correlation coefficient R actually measures the linearity only. And it is close to a straight line relationship. And that is why, you said strong positive. So let's take an example. How can we use this in our business? A casting industry, an aluminum casting industry, they are manufacturing castings, and porosity is a problem. A frequent problem with one of the casting defect is porosity. And the brainstorming and the fishbone analysis and everything, people are suggesting that hydrogen content could be the culprit. And you wanted to understand whether hydrogen content is the real culprit or not. So you collected sample in which the porosity is measured, hydrogen content also measured. Both are continuous data. And now you can go for the correlation. And now I have plotted a scatter diagram. I am getting this kind of thing. And now the relationship is found to exist. And relationship is found to be positive. You see here, as the hydrogen content keeps on increasing, porosity also keeps on increasing. You can see the trend here, right? So it is positive correlation. And to understand the impact or the influence of this variable on the Y variable, I calculate R. How much is the R here? R is 0.625. When R is 0.625, is that the relationship is weak, moderate, or strong?
Weak.
Moderate. Up to 0.4, we call it weak, and 0.4 to 0.7, we call it moderate. 0.7 to 1, we call it strong. And this is moderate. And this is confirmed with the p-value also. Always, anytime you use the data, you have to check the p-value. Otherwise, all your calculations, findings can go wrong. So p-value is less than 5%. That means whatever you are speaking now are correct, statistically correct. And now I wanted to take you one step further. You see here, we are calculating one more thing, which is R square, which is p-value we discussed, R square. Now this R square is called coefficient of determination. That will also be helpful to us. R square means 0.625 multiplied with the 0.625 again. Now how much you get? 0.39. That means 39% of the variation. 39% of the variation you have seen in the porosity have come from the hydrogen content. Do you know how it is helping you? 39% of the problems due to porosity are due to the variation in the hydrogen content. If you control the hydrogen content at the correct level, you will be able to solve 39% of the problem. What is the problem? Porosity. If there are 100 castings becoming porous, and when you actually optimize the hydrogen content, 39 castings will become good, and now you are only remaining 61 will be bad. So the contribution of the factor on your Y variable, or the impact of your factor on your Y variable in terms of the influence is getting measured in your R square. We call it coefficient of determination. Is that clear to all of you? So what do you understand here? Porosity is definitely impacted by hydrogen content. To what extent? 39%. So remaining 61%, you are not able to explain. Remaining 61%, you are not able to explain. That means your Y variable depends on few other X factor. Only by optimizing the hydrogen content, you can't solve the porosity problem. Only 39% of the porosity problem you can solve. Still remaining 61% of the porosity problem requires inclusion of additional predictors. All of you are with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So next case. The X variable now there are two variables. One is calorie consumption, another one is weight gain. Now tell me which is X variable and which is Y variable here. Weight gain and calorie consumption. Which is X variable and which is Y variable?
Weight gained X.
Weight
Weight
gain
gain
is weight gain is Y variable.
Y variable, calorie is X.
Very good. Your intake is X variable and the weight addition is Y variable. And I want to understand whether your weight gain is influenced by the amount of intake you take, right? And I'm studying only one factor, not other things. Your sleeping pattern and your what do you call physical activities, your stress level, those and all I'm not studying. Of course, your weight gain or weight loss may be impacted by many factors, but I'm studying only calorie consumption. Please note the study is applicable only to a specific individual. You can't try to correlate this to everyone, isn't it? Because every human body can behave in a particular way. So the study is applicable only to Mr. X on whom the study is conducted. So Mr. X is advised to consume 1,500 calories for a particular period of time. And then his weight gain or weight loss is recorded. Same way, the calorie consumption is increased and decreased and weight gain information is done. And now I want to understand how the calorie consumption, changing the pattern of calorie consumption, how it will impact his weight gain. And now we are plotting a scatter diagram. And now what is the scatter is telling us? Is there a relationship?
Yes, positive relationship.
Is the relationship is positive?
Yes,
Is the
yes.
relationship is strong?
Positive.
Yes.
Positive.
It's strong positive. That is confirmed with your R value. How much is the R value?
0.97.
0.97. So it is not only strong, it is very strong.
Very
That
strong.
means that person is very healthier. He doesn't have any other problem. His only problem is the calorie consumption. He is decided according to what he is eating, isn't it? He consumes more, puts more weight. He consumes less, puts less weight. And that is, he is at its best form of health. And now R square, how is this R square is helping us? So R square is 0.97 into 0.97. How much is 0.97 into 0.97? 0.94. How is it helping you? Can somebody now summarize the conclusion? What does it mean by 0.94?
94% of the time, the calories intake
Complete.
shows
90
the weight gain.
Okay, very good. I'll slightly modify it. 94% of the changes you are observing in his weight gain are due to the changes you are making in the calorie consumption. Now you are the dietitian or the nutrition consultant for that person. Now you can make him the weight, gain the weight or lose the weight simply by adjusting his calorie consumption. He want to increase the weight, then give him more calories. He want to decrease the weight, then give him less calories. But this formula will work only to Mr. X, not to you. Isn't it? Because the data is collected only from X, isn't it? So if the sample is collected from a particular population, then the sample characteristics can only represent the population characteristics, not everyone. So you have to use the statistics very wisely, and that is why the sampling and all these analysis and everything is important, right? And so now the problem can be solved to the extent of 94%. This particular person, weight gain or weight loss, is not impacted by any other factor. All other factors are not playing much. All other factors play only to the extent of how much? Only 6%. 94% of the problem is only related to the calories. If you want to do a same study for yourself, you know how many problems you may have, isn't it? You may have calorie consumption and you may have some other problems. So it depends on person to person.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, in the previous case, calorie consumption is the best predictor. And optimizing one single factor will solve 94% of the problem. So factor criticality is understood, relationship is understood, sufficiency also understood. But with the casting problem, hydrogen content, only one factor. One factor was not sufficient to solve the problem. But here, one factor, itself is sufficient for us to solve the problem. And moving on to the next, regression. What is regression? Earlier, I have shown the scatter diagram. I have shown the line also, the red color line you see here. If you write a mathematical equation for the line, that equation is called regression equation. What is the benefit of writing the equation? If that equation is written properly, you can use it as a prediction equation. You can use it as a prediction equation, right? And so the relationship between calorie consumption and weight gain is written as an equation here. So regression equation can help you to understand the direction of relationship and size of relationship. What is the direction of relationship here? Positive or negative? Positive.
Positive.
And how your regression, how can you understand the same thing using regression equation? See here, this is your y variable, weight gain. Calorie consumption is your x variable. X variable is called a predictor. And the coefficient of the x variable is 0.4631. Can you see a plus symbol here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is telling you the relationship is positive. This is telling you the relationship is positive. And the number 0.46 can give you a clue on the size of the relationship. Already you know 94% is the influence. And now what is the number? 0.46. This 0.46 also will give you a clue. We'll see that in the next slide. Sign of the coefficient gives the direction. And the coefficient, this coefficient is called regression coefficient. That will tell you what, that will tell you the amount of change that will happen in your y variable to a specific amount of change you are making in the x variable. That we will understand in the next slide. See here, I am showing a regression line. Do you see the line here? This gray color line, this is the regression line. All of you could have studied in mathematics. And this is a straight line. Hope all of you will agree with me. This is a straight line and not a curved line. And straight line can be expressed in the form of y equal to mx plus c, where what is m? M is the slope of the line.
Slope.
M is called the gradient. You can trigonometrically, you can call m as tan theta. And c is called y-intercept. Let us understand what is this m and c, because once m and c is known, then equation you can write yourself. You don't have to depend on the software. What is c? Y-intercept. And tell me, look at the equation. Look at the straight line. Tell me where this straight line cuts your y-axis. That is called y-intercept. Can you tell me where it meets the y-axis?
5.
At 5. And so c is 5. Do you see c equal to 5 here?
Yes, sir.
So that is meaning of y-intercept. And x in and the gradient is nothing but slope. How to get the slope? See here, at any point, you can draw a vertical line, you can draw a horizontal line. You can draw anywhere. Here also you can draw. Wherever you want, you can draw. Right? And now this is your x variable. This is your y variable. When I reduce the x by 1 unit, my y what happens? My y increases by
Increase by 2 units.
2 unit. Let me speak here. When I increase my x by 1 unit, what happened to my y?
Increase by 2 units.
No, you have to be very
Decrease.
decrease. When I increase my x by 1 unit, it decreases. So relationship is opposite. Now do you understand why minus comes here?
Yes.
For every single unit change, how many unit change you have observed in y?
2 units.
2 unit.
That is why you have 2 here. Clear?
Yes.
So you know how to impact your y. When I increase 1 unit in my x, in this particular equation, my y will increase by 2 units. And now you go back. Your number is plus. You know the meaning of plus. And the regression coefficient is 0.4631. Can somebody tell me what it means? What is the meaning? Can you make a try? What is the meaning? When it is 1, see when I put 1 here, what does it mean? Increasing x by 1 unit will increase your y also by 1 unit. Am I right?
Yes.
When I put 2 here, when I increase my x by 1 unit, y will increase by 2 unit. The same way, when I put 0.5, now tell me, when I increase x by 1 unit, what will happen to y?
It will
Point-
also
1 unit.
increase.
Point.
0.5 unit. Yeah, y will increase by 0.5 unit. Right? Whatever previous value of y, if it is 1, that will become 1.5. So 0.5 only will increase. Are you with me?
Yes.
Similarly, when I have 0.4631, I will say when I increase 1 unit of calorie consumption, weight gain will increase by 0.4631 units. Here it is units, right? So that is the meaning. That increase is when I increase my x variable by 1 unit, how my y variable will be impacted. So you will get an idea to get the decide y, how many units I should change in my x. All of you are with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Say for example, here no, this is my equation, y equal to minus 2x plus 5. My y is some value. My y is, let's say, 100. Now I want to reduce my y to half of it. I want to reduce my y to half of it. Y equal to 50 is the result I am targeting. Now what will I do? What will I do?
X will also reduce.
I will increase my x by 1 unit.
By 1 unit.
It is done. That's all. When I know, according to the relationship, when I increase the x, my y will decrease, isn't it?
Yes.
And also when I increase x by 1 unit, y will definitely decrease by
Decrease.
By 2 units.
2 units.
2 units. So that way, I will be able to reduce it. That means, see here, when I do it here, what will happen? Y will not immediately come to 100, come to 50. Suppose at a particular value, if it is 100. Now what will happen when I increase the y x by 1 unit? Y will come down to 98. 2 unit it will come down, isn't it? So same way, I'll keep on moving my x. At some point, what will happen? My y will become 50. So this is what this equation is telling you. This is how you are actually solving the problem. This is the solution. Assigning a suitable value to x is the solution. So solution will automatically evolve if you analyze properly. So I have explained this regression coefficient already. And now this regression equation is called simple linear regression. Why do I call it simple linear regression? Only one predictor is involved. But this is called multiple linear regression. Why do I call it multiple? You see there are 2 predictors. First predictor is x1, second predictor is x2. 2 predictors are involved, and so it is called multiple linear regression. Right. And now in regression, the role of residual is important. You need to understand. See here, I am showing a scatter diagram here. The scattered points are the red color one. When your scattered points are like this, how do you frame the equation? By drawing a line through the point. Now tell me, if I draw the line here, somewhere here, will you accept my equation?
No.
Why? When I draw here, the error will be more.
More.
Suppose when I draw below, here also error will be more. The error is at the minimum at the blue color line. This is called principle of least square. This is called principle of least square. What is this? See here, every point, consider this point. What is the actual value or observed value? 380. But you are pulling this point down, and so that you are making it to lie on the straight line. Same way, this point you are pulling up and you are making it lie here. Similarly, this point you are pulling down and making it lie here. What the amount by which you are pulling down, that is nothing but deviation. That is nothing but deviation. Am I right? The real observation is here. But in your regression, equation is formed assuming the point is here. So this is called deviation. Deviation is positive on one side, the deviation is negative on other side. So I want to know the total deviation. I want to know the total deviation. So total deviation, when I add, the plus and minus will cancel each other. So what I do is, I will add the squared deviation. I will add the squared deviation. So what is your goal? Deviation should be low or high?
Low.
Low. So the sum of the squared value, the sum of the squared deviation should be minimum. This is your goal while framing the regression equation. This is called principle of least squares. This is called what? Principle of least square. And so, and see here, and this is what we have understood. So the observed value and fitted value, that is called residual. Actual value is 380, fitted value is 350. So amount of residual is plus 30. On the other side, residual is minus 30. Since the residual can be plus, residuals can be minus, we are squaring. Whenever you square the deviation, no, you are working with variance. Whenever you are working with deviation, you are working with sigma, isn't it? So that's how it is. So when you make the sum of the squared deviation minimum, then your regression equation will be at its best. That is the idea. And now your regression can be linear regression. Linear means its equation will be like this: y equal to mx plus c. It can be a simple linear regression or multiple linear regression. Sometimes what happens, your scatter may give you this kind of relationship. Is it linear? Not linear. But what is this relationship called? This is called curvilinear, or you call it quadratic. And so your equation will have no x raised to the power of 2. X square term will be there. Sometimes your scattered may reveal this kind of pattern. Going up, coming down, again going up, right? So this is called a peak and valley type. And now your regression model should be cubic regression. Now, do you know when to bring x cube, when to bring x squared, when to bring x term in your regression, right? So this knowledge will help you to build the appropriate regression model so that your prediction can happen beautifully. Now for the same problem, calorie consumption and weight gain. We'll see it in the Minitab also. Either you do it manually, I have explained to you the calculation, or you can put all the data in Minitab. Automatically Minitab will generate the equation. But I have taught you how each and everything was coming, isn't it? So you can calculate yourself, or you can use Excel, or you can use Minitab, right? And see here, the regression equation is this. And now, model summary. What is S here? Can somebody tell me what is S?
91.7.
What? No, how do you call it? S is nothing but what?
Standard deviation.
Standard deviation.
Beautiful, standard deviation. In the residual analysis, we have seen delta, right? The delta is deviation. When you calculate the average deviation, that is called standard deviation. You want the standard deviation to be higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower. If it is lower, your regression will speak better. You don't have to go to the site. Just using your equation, you can tell what is going to happen to other people, right? And now R square. You remember R square we discussed. What is R square? Coefficient of determination.
Yes.
We also got this 94% by squaring the R value.
Yes.
Any regression equation will have this model summary where R square is an important metric. R square needs to be 90% and above. 90% and above. If not, at least it should be 80%, right? But if it is less than 80%, your regression model is weaker. That means, another 20% of the problem is due to some other new factor which you have not understood. Here, how many percentage of the problem you are not able to understand? Only 6%.
6%.
That is the significance of R square. That says number of factors you have included are sufficient. Number of factors are sufficient. Whether the number of factors are sufficient, whether all the factors are the correct factors, that is important, right? That will be measured in the next R square, which is adjusted R square. R square is arrived based on the number of factors. Adjusted R square is arrived based on the criticality of the factors. Criticality of that means both have to be more than 90%. When both are more than 90%, and now you are another R square, predicted R square. If this predicted R square also 90%, you can close your eyes and you can start using the regression equation for predicting any future performance. If this predicted R square is not above 90%, you can use the equation only for the data you have collected. But look at your data. Let us go back to the data. Calorie consumption, some data is available. Weight gain, some data is available. Now, calorie consumption, does it include 1850? 1850 is included here? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
No.
No, no.
But when I advise my patient to consume 1850 calories, what will happen to his weight gain?
It be
Either
It will be
you
increased.
can conduct a study and you can get the value here. Alternatively, you can substitute 1850 here in the calorie consumption and you can get the weight gain. Do you think you will get same value? Conduct the experiment, get one value. Substitute in the equation and get another value. Will it have, do you think you will get exact value in real time as well as from your equation? Yes or no?
Yes.
It is yes when your predicted R square is closer to 100%. It is yes when your predicted R square is closer to 100%. And if the predicted R square is very low, you should not use the equation for prediction. Because what you predict using the equation, what may happen to your patient may be different. And people will start laughing at you. With the way you are advising others, your results may not happen in real time. So in ideal situation, all the three R squares should be closer to 100%, and people will the company will start seeing you as a important asset. They just cannot ignore you during any discussion if you know how to work with the numbers. Right? This is how statistics is helping. This is the equation, and again, any time you use the data, see here it comes, the p-value can be generated, right? And make sure p-value is less than 5% to take decisions with a 95% confidence level. Again, another case, the casting industry case, right? You have the porosity, you have the hydrogen content. Now, the result is uptime. What is the equation here? Porosity equal to minus 0.597 plus 4.93 hydrogen. And now the p-value confirmation is also there. And now, what kind of relationship you are seeing? Positive, strong, or negative, or what kind of relationship you are seeing here? Can you tell me using the regression equation? Positive relationship or negative relationship?
Positive.
positive.
Okay. And also, strong relationship or weak relationship?
Weak.
Weak.
How do you say it is weak?
Or R values
Because the
are not very
percentage is
closer to
less than
100.
90.
R square value is only 39.
39.
R square value is 39. So it is weak relationship. So what do you understand? You can solve only 39% of the problem. Right? And
Yes, sir.
moreover, your predicted R square is very low. Please don't use this equation to predict new observation because many other critical factors are not included. Isn't it?
Yes.
If the sufficiency you are talking about the sufficiency of the factor, the number of factors you have included in your problem solving is not sufficient enough, isn't it? Because you could solve only 39% of the problem, not full problem. So that is what is getting reflected. So include additional factor, R square will improve. Include the correct additional factor, adjusted R square will improve. And then make sure your prediction value and real value are closer. Your predicted R square will improve, right? So you know how to read each and everything, and S needs to be as low as possible. If the S is, if you allow the S to higher, if they allow the S to increase, your confidence interval will increase. Again, people don't like the way you are working, isn't it? You want higher confidence level. At the same time, your confidence interval should be narrower. If you want the confidence interval narrower, the standard error of the mean should be less. If you want the standard error of the mean to be less, standard deviation should be less. If the standard deviation is to be less, then the place where you draw the regression equation is very important. Hope everything is clearly understood. Right.
Yes.
So correlation analysis predicts the linear relationship. Only the linear relationship is measured in the R value, particularly the Pearson correlation coefficient, that can range between -1 and +1, where -1 and +1 means perfect linearity. The Pearson correlation coefficient is very sensitive to outlier. Whenever you have an outlier in your data, you know what is outlier? The point is far away from the center. When any point is far away from the center, better remove the outlier before calculating the correlation coefficient. Otherwise, what will happen? Your correlation coefficient value may get drifted to some direction, and that will make you to take wrong decision. Significance of correlation must be always confirmed with p-value. Strong correlation doesn't imply cause and effect. All of you have to be very, very careful in using statistics. Statistics, science, engineering, and everything will have sense only when you apply your common sense also, right? So having a statistical relationship doesn't mean it is cause and effect relationship. You must apply your common sense also. And for example, imagine you collected data about the rainfall in a particular city and the number of malaria cases reported in the same city. So rainfall in a city is continuous data. Number of malaria cases is also continuous data. You are plotting the diagram. You are plotting a diagram and you are calculating the correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient is coming to be 0.9. What does it mean? It means a strong relationship? Is it mean very strong relationship?
A strong relationship, yes.
Very strong relationship. So R value is equal to 0.9 and relationship is very strong. Does it mean the rainfall is causing malaria in the city? Statistically,
Yes, sir.
is that rainfall is causing malaria?
Statistically,
No.
it is okay, but physical no.
But in that case, we need to
Depends on
calculate the
standard
coefficient of determination.
Statistically,
other
there
factors-
is a relationship.
Other
But-
factors also affect here.
Statistically, there is a relationship, but you cannot say this is the cause. Rainfall is not causing malaria. Rainfall is causing the mosquitoes to reproduce more, isn't it? When there is a rainfall, water will get stagnant, water will be available everywhere, and as a result, mosquitoes reproduce. As mosquitoes reproduce, and malaria is cases are getting reported more. So you should know how to use the statistics. Simply because your R value is 0.9, you cannot conclude it is cause and effect. All the statistics, engineering plus common sense is equal to reality. If you fail to apply the common sense, even statistics can again divert you in the wrong direction. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, may I express something here?
Come again?
Sir, may I express something?
Yeah, please.
Sir, while calculating national income, we see that the population and the income of the individuals are statistically calculated and via various methods. So, like if a person earns 10 rupees a month and it earns 50 rupees a month, the national income is kind of 30 rupees, So the policy made after getting the data, it's maybe friendly with the 50 rupees person, but it's far away with the 10 rupees income group. So can't you think it's quite disputive here, sir?
You mean to say if 10 rupees increase happens with respect to individual income and national income increases by 30 rupees, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that means, they have made some statistical adjustment. They have made statistical adjustment because when you take the sample, do you think, they collect the data from all the people in the country? Definitely no. Only the sample is taken. Am I right? And when
basically-
even after taking sample, do you think the people will give the real income? Are you filing IT properly with all your income, correct income?
So basically the bank data and the IT files are considered during the statistical
That's
methods.
But the real income, they get other income, unaccounted income, and so adjustments they are making. And maybe we have to talk to them directly. Clear?
Yes.
Always see, statistics is only to help us take the right decision. You should not say this is the formula, then this is so. But what is happening is different. If what is happening is different, you can have plus 20. In your company, you have so many thumb rule. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
can't explain the thumb rule, but you know this is how it is taken. And so, no, you have the thumb rule. Similarly, statistics will take you close to the reality. But to go very close to the reality, again, they will have some adjustments in the formula, and that we need to do it case-to-case basis. A Six Sigma team can make use of the regression to investigate suspected relationship. What kind of relationship it is? Linear, quadratic, or cubic? Regression will answer, and you can use the derived equation as a prediction model. Regression result can indicate the direction, size, and also the statistical significance. The regression coefficient helps you to estimate the change in the y variable for the corresponding change in the x variable, right? The regression can be used to predict, model the linear, quadratic, and cubic relationship. So that's it from me on correlation and regression.